Oh, I think we are live. Hello, everybody. Good to see all of your beautiful, happy, smiling faces again this fine Thursday morning. I'm so used to saying Saturday morning at 8 a.m., but now it's Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, some random time, Central Mountain for all my other people there, and then UK time as well, because I have Dave here. There's Dave. Hello, Dave.
Thought you weren't going to let me in then, and it was just
I know. I've got the button there. I was like, we'll hover. We'll say hello first, and then we'll do the button. How's it going, buddy? So everyone, Dave just got married. Big congratulations to Dave, and it went well, which is nice.
It did, yeah. All went to plan apart from the UK weather, but yeah, you can't predict that. So
that's literally what we expected. Yeah, I got married many moons ago in May, and we planned for that one because sometimes here in the summer it can be just like 1 billion degrees, and if no one's prepared, we just sweat to death. And sure enough, it was like May, and it was hot in May, which is not a normal thing. So we were okay. I was sweaty, but I think that's par for the course anyway. We're ready for questions. Bring them on in. Otherwise, we'll just riff and chat all things marketing strategy. In fact, as they come in, I don't know, what were you just working on? I was working on stuff for SEO of all things. So unless you were working on something more interesting, we can talk about that first, or
I was working on the call for all the Agency Accelerator clients, and I was helping them with tech, go high level, everything, all fun and games.
Yes, very good. How'd that go? What questions came up there? Actually, I've got a link I've got to drop as well, because questions on SaaS and things like that, they sort of keep coming up. But what was the topic of conversation there, my friend?
Topics around niches, around offers. Some clients are based out in Europe, and they were saying, when you've got a smaller demographic of people in certain countries, it's like harder to really niche down. So we were talking about...
Oh, hang on. What just happened? Oh, dude, what did I do? Hang on. Hang on. You're there. I'm here. You're there. Good God. Can you hear me still? How did I mute you? Hang on, buddy. Muted in sound levels. I think I hit a button. Oh, the technology. One day we're going to go back to Zoom, and I think, oh, there we go. Are you good now?
I'm back. It should be back.
That's me. I'm not allowed to touch things. That's the rule. So you're saying clients, I've got don't touch anything. Clients in other places. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, niching down in different areas of Europe. Like if you're based in the US, you've got so much to work at. So you could literally go for roofers in a certain area, in a certain state or even a certain city. Whereas based over the pond, Europe, it's a little bit different. So we were kind of going on the nuances of that. And then there was some AI chatbot, conversational AI, all really interesting. I think it's good and clients want it, but it's not quite there yet. So it's talking about how we can use it in hybrid in our businesses. So maybe start conversations and direct them in certain places, but then jump in and have that human interaction and make sure that it's really being good quality versus letting it do the whole process and it not being the best quality.
Yeah. We're finding, I think we talked about this before. What we've seen is we automate the first step of it and then quickly go over to manual stuff. And we're not unique in that. In fact, I can't remember who we heard this from in the first place, but that's what all of the big players were doing, not just 7-figure, but 8-figure, 9-figure, is they were automating some stuff. And then very quickly they were switching it over to manual, as quickly as humanly possible. So obviously speed to lead is important. When someone comes in as a new lead for your business, you need to respond to them right away. But then I think gone are the days, unless you're super transparent with it and your market doesn't seem to mind, the chatbots just, it's still a little clunky and a little weird. Much like when we're, I'm using this, I'm trying to, the video concepts how to rank something in 24 hours. And we're trying to use ChatGPT to write some of the content. And it's fine because it's for SEO. But if it was for a sales page or an email or something, yeah, it's tricky. In fact, one of the things that I've been working on is trying to train the GPTs better based on my content, uploading a lot to it and trying to get it to be smarter. We're getting there, but we ain't there yet.
No, we need Adam ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's a scary thought. We have mini Adam ChatGPT. I've got the Everlaunch one for the emails, and then I've been trying to train this mentor one. But once in a while, it just gives this batshit crazy advice. I was I would never say that. Don't do that. Please don't listen to Robot Adam. He will burn your business. Jesse, good to see you, dude. Oh man, I'm glad you are here and doing well. Yes, we will. If you got any questions, man, drop them in. I see Samuel's got one. I'm going to hit in just a second, but yes, SEO. Okay, so that all sounds good. Yeah, and actually, hang on, because I put that link in there as well. This one here, which no one's gonna be able to copy that out, but you'll find it in the chat. And what this is we were talking about like, how do you sell SaaS? Should you sell SaaS, software as a service? What's the best way to get started with it? And it's funny because a lot of people ask about it, and a lot of people come into the program having sold SaaS in the past or trying to sell SaaS. And what they quickly realize is that it's okay to get a few clients, but then it's just not a super profitable long-term thing. And the amount of work that you have to do for the reward is questionable. However, as like a stepping stone, fantastic. So I've talked about this a ton before, where I strongly believe if you have even the slightest inclination or desire to learn marketing or do marketing, like the core agency model that's your heaven. Like, you got to get there. You have to get there sooner than later, and you can stay there if you like, and then you can branch out from it. But if you're super tentative or you're a little nervous, you can start with some SaaS. Eventually we want to get you into agency. If you're in agency, you should also have a SaaS offer. We call it waterfall pricing, where we basically pitch our clients on the main things that we can do with our agency. And then if they're like, can't afford it, not a good fit, you don't want them, then we can deliver them the SaaS. But I mean, there's a massive difference between charging someone $300 a month and $3,000 a month, $500 a month, $5,000 a month. And we think, or people think, that it's like 10 times harder to sell a client for $3,000 than $300, but it's not. But you make 10 times the profit. So it's like, if you want to get to 10K, 20K, 50K a month, I mean, 10 clients at $2,500 is $25K a month. On the other hand, if you try to do that with SaaS, like, you're gonna need a bunch. So anyway, we like this hybrid approach. I think it's really solid. High Level's got that training out right now that it's a free 3-day workshop. You really can't miss it. Yeah, on that. All right, we have questions. Q for saying hi, and then we're gonna hop into Samuel. And if anybody has questions, otherwise we're just gonna keep riffing on whatever, I don't know, weather. It's our last nice sunny day. Samuel, Adam, drive a lot and listen to audiobooks and your content. Thank you very much. My pleasure. Good for you for doing that. That's actually been one of my secrets, is listening to audiobooks all of the time. Like, legitimately, before, I'm not sure when audiobooks became popular, but I remember, kind of dating myself a bit, but like over a decade ago, I would like have to get the audio file and like physically remove it and like install it on a Google folder thing and transfer it over. But like, just listen on repeat. That's the reason I've read Purple Cow so many times. It was one of the only audiobooks I had. So just like burned it through. So anyways, good for you. And I still listen to audiobooks every single day in the gym. My wife wonders how I can work out with like someone just yattering in my ear instead of music. But I've made the sacrifice of like, my workout might suffer by 10-20%, but my brain is growing by like 50%. So it's like, I might be growing a little slower here, but like, I'm just getting leaps and bounds ahead. So anyway, just started the 80-20 Sales and Marketing book by Perry Marshall. Are you familiar, and how do you incorporate? I'm so familiar. So I've loved Perry for a long, long time, in a mutually respectable man crush kind of way. And so he was on my podcast back, like, I don't even know, 6 years ago or something like that. And I'd been a big fan of his prior to that. 80-20, not just sales and marketing, but 80-20 in general, is one of the core principles that I live and die by. I know, Dave, you do as well. It's like, these are fundamental principles that we incorporate into not just sales and marketing and business, but pretty much every area of our life. So yes, how do I incorporate it? Literally friggin' everything, all the time. Dave and I just yesterday, I was like, hey, where are leads coming from? Where are sales coming from? I think they're coming from here. And Dave's like, nope, data says they're coming from here. So sure enough, 20% of the things that we're doing lead to 80% of our results. That's it. 20% of the 20% leads to 60%. I think it's like 4% leads to 60% or something like that. So you can just keep doubling down and your life becomes easier. Your workload decreases. This is how you build a truly providing, freedom delivering agency is you 80-20 the daylights out of everything. You 80-20 your customers, so you're only working with the top 20% of clients that are giving you all of your revenue and none of your headaches. You fire your bottom 20% of clients, which are likely causing you the most trouble, giving you the most headaches, paying you the least. You only offer the top 20% of services where you're able to get a result that clients actually like. You focus on just like 20% of the market, which would be niching down until that makes sense. On and on. The way you structure your day, you focus on the 20% of things that are going to get you 80% of your results. In the program, we call these RGA, revenue generating activities. And actually, it's more like the 80-20 doesn't hold completely. These are more like the 90-10s. So like there's 10% of things that are going to get you 90% of result. I'd probably even say it'd be like 5-95. But like if you do revenue generating activities for, I don't even know, maybe 3 hours a day, like you're going to make infinitely more money than someone that's doing them haphazardly here and there. So yes, I don't know. I beat that one up pretty good. Do you have thoughts to add on that one, Dave, other than my just massive love for it?
No, yeah, you always talk 80-20, and I always kind of know the answer when I'm asking a question or we're talking about stuff. It's like, let's go to the 80-20. It is just a formula that you can apply and almost simplifies things for you, because when you apply it, you're like, oh yeah, 80-20.
Yeah.
There it is again.
And yeah, I think that's what's cool about it, is that it shows up everywhere. So if you look at it from like a massive perspective, it's like 20% of the roads get 80% of the traffic. The inverse is true. 80% of the roads get 20% of the traffic. 20% of the population commits 80% of the crimes. 20% of your customers deliver 80% of the value. 20% of the cities have 80% of the people. 80% of the cities have 20% of the people. Like it's everywhere. And if it's not, it's like 70-30 or 90-10. Like it's there. So again, you want to be approaching your day with like, what are the things, I call it like tiny hinges that swing big doors. Like what are the small actions I can take that are going to have outsized rewards and results? And for us anyways, has been like really systemizing things, focusing on revenue generating activities and like explicitly that, and excluding essentially everything else. And then also like checking yourself all the time. Fortunately I've got Dave to check me, because I'll get these ideas of like, we should do this, we should do that, we should do that. Where's the sales coming from, Dave? And I'm like begging him, tell me this. And he's like, no, it's all from here. I was like, oh, we're back to there. And sure enough, it's always what we know it is. So, all right. Heat Vision. Do you use the upper level, high level, and white label the SaaS? Hey, my man. Good to see you. Yes, we do, but you don't have to. So totally up to you. I think if you've got a small local business and you're not a marketer, then like the $97 a month plan is perfect for you, because you've got everything there. If you're an agency, the $297 a month plan, which is the middle tier one, totally sufficient, totally good. Once you've got a couple clients, I do like that SaaS plan at like $497, I think it is. Because I like white labeling it. I like having the ability to sell these as like a downsell to clients. Like the value add alone makes it worth the extra incremental cost, especially because once you've got clients in there, it's easier and they sort of help pay the bill for you. So definitely not required. Kind of nice to have sooner than later.
Yeah, I would agree. I've had white labels go high level for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now. And again, it's just, I've noticed more and more that people know what Go High Level is now. Like it's out there, people know what it is. But if you've got your own version and you can put your spin on it, they're going to come to you and they're going to want to work with you, especially if you're already like they're in your agency. So I do like having that, and I use it a lot. I've still got a lot of clients in there. They don't need any help, support. They just pay me monthly and they're happy to use it. Yeah.
I think that's kind of why I like it the most as well. There is it is as close as you can get to like passive income. Where, and again, I don't know. I also like it because you're fulfilling a service for a client that you may not have been able to take on otherwise. And you're fulfilling them in a way that is low effort, low energy from you. So like, again, if a client comes to you, my least favorite thing to do is like price cutting and race to the bottom of the barrel and just hack all your prices and do all that. But if you're going to lose the sale and you're not going to work with them anyway, and they're going to be gone, you might as well give them something of value and recoup the costs and the time that you had talking with them. And so yes, all good. Jesse, what do you do when you feel like you have cracked the code? Have we ever cracked the code?
Celebrate. Do a dance.
Yeah. And now you have too many clients who are reaching out for work, and now you feel overloaded, waking up at 5 a.m. to get to work faster. Yeah, you celebrate. For starters, like, I mean, obviously you don't want to live this life forever unless you're me and you just like waking up early because then the kids stay in bed for another couple hours. If you have this, two things. The first of which is that marketing is largely a game of friction, business in general. So there's points in our business, like when you're first getting started, you want to reduce friction as much as possible. So your opt-in forms are basically like, or your application form is like, hire me or like apply, and there's no questions and you'll talk to anybody because you never really know. So there's, again, no friction. But then you start realizing, okay, a lot of these people aren't a good fit. They don't have any money. So you start adding a few questions like, do you actually have a business? Are you looking to grow? Do you have a budget? And you just keep adding it until, again, your lead flow kind of comes back down and it's manageable. There are other systems you can put in place, including setters and other automations and workflows and things like that. But I just like to keep refining that system out. Next, if you're far too busy, you have to raise your prices. Like, of all of the ways to raise, yeah, I mean, like that's the easiest thing ever. And in fact, if you take a look at all of the other ways of growing a business, like increasing the number of customers, increasing the number of products or services, increasing the transaction of the customers, and increasing prices, only one of them leads to like direct 100% profit. And that's prices. Because if you're selling something, let's easy math, let's say 50% profit. Well, you could sell more customers and you're going to increase revenue by 100%, but you'll increase profit by 50%. But if you double the price, well, you just increase the profit without increasing your workload. So you become significantly more profitable, make a whole lot more money. Not to mention, I was listening to this just this morning again. Oh, it was Rory Sutherland. Yes. Alchemy. VP of Ogilvy. I think I'm saying his name right. I'm so confused now, all these names. Like my favorite marketer. I know, one of my favorite marketers ever, and I'm blanking on his name. Author of Alchemy, Rory Sutherland. And he was talking about the psychology behind pricing and how we just naturally associate higher price with higher value. And he gives a lot of examples of this in the book and all that, like aspirin to cure a headache. Like he doesn't like that it's like 69 pence, he's in the UK, to cure a headache. Like he'd rather there be a premium aspirin for like £1.50 or $3 or something like that, because it would work better. And they've proven that it works better because of the placebo effect and the psychology. The same thing goes of like, if I tell you nothing else, I was like, hey, this car's $10,000 and this car's $100,000. Which car's better? We know it's the $100,000 car. So again, I like higher pricing. Not insane to price yourself out of the market and like raise it incrementally so you don't just completely go. But most agencies are undercharging. What else? Yeah, I think that's a big one.
Yeah, I think if you've already taken on the work, Jesse, I think prioritizing certain clients, and again, prioritizing the clients that you know are going to stay for longer as well. Like you may get some drop off, but if you prioritize the clients that, one, look like there's longevity in them, and two, that you like working with, because that's the key thing as well. Again, 80-20 rule. You're going to have so many clients that are headaches, but you're probably going to want to get rid of those and then increase your prices and get more of those clients that you enjoy working with. So if you've already taken on those clients, prioritize the work for the clients that you see kind of longevity with, you can get results, and then obviously just communicate with them. If you can set kind of deadlines and reach those deadlines, but obviously communicate that with the client, and then the client knows, okay, great, my website's going to be done in 3 weeks. You give yourself a little bit more breathing space to just kind of project your work out and get that work done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think also I'm seeing some stuff in the chat there as well about outsourcing and that. And yeah, I'm a big fan of that as well. It's like the second that you're too busy for stuff, you expand, you bring on contractors. You don't have to hire full-time employees. But I am of the opinion of like make hay while the sun shines. So if you've got, and for a couple different reasons, one of which is economic, which is it makes sense to take advantage of the work as it comes across your plate, because it's just good business practice to kind of like ideally not turn too many people away. But there's a second principle at play, a very woo-woo spiritual one. I say we touch it. There's something that happens, and we can call this the universe, or we can call this your personal viewpoint, or even your own mindset. But there's something that happens when you accept like the gifts that you've been given, and you're like, thank you, world and universe, for this gift, for this money, for this client, and you get more of it. The opposite also happens when you're like, I'm too busy, I can't take it on, and you start saying no. The market, the universe, I don't care, call it whatever you want. It's just like, cool, he's good, let's go over here. And it does. So I've always been of the opinion of like, we just take it while it's there and then we build the systems around it. And again, I like those push periods because they show me where my systems are screwed up. Like if you're having to wake up at 5 and you're working till 9 p.m. and you're doing that for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks straight now, which I would argue is like the limit of how long I'd want to push you that. I know you got a family. Then it's like, cool, my systems aren't very good. Like I need better delegation. I need this. I need all the things Dave talked about as well. So yes. Yeah, Byron, Purple Cow. So good. I've got multiple copies stashed around the office. There's probably better marketing books, but it's solid. All right. Okay. You guys are chatting. Good. Q. Speaking on 80/20, how do you avoid shiny object syndrome? Focus on RGAs. Found myself working on a blog for my agency website instead of doing outreach. Yeah, you and everybody, I think. Like, me too. I wish I had a better system for it. I think there's a couple things that we can help you with. One of which is you've got to constantly remind yourself of the importance of the RGAs and like block them in, time block them and calendar them. Because otherwise, like if you sit there for a second, you're like, what should I do? It's already too late. Like you've already lost that battle. Like we should always know I need to do this number of outreach. I need to do it first. I need to do it. And these are the reasons why I need to do it. Everything else are just really procrastination things. So we have to remind ourselves of what needs to be done. And then I think we also have to remind ourselves of why it's important. Like, what are we trying to do? We're trying to look after ourselves and our friends and our family. And the only way that happens is by doing these activities. So yeah, Dave, if you got any thoughts on that one, I'll think of some more as well. Cause that's a biggie.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just getting it done first. Like, it's like eat the frog, like we mentioned. It's like, don't leave it to the end of the day. Just start it. And it's always like, we spoke about this last week or the week before, and it was like, it's that first dial or that first message that you send. And you're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And then you get into second and third, and then you go on a bit of a roll. And then all of a sudden, you kind of find yourself not wanting to stop, and you just want to keep going. You're like, well, actually, no, I need to do that blog, so I'll do that blog later. So yeah, get it done first thing. I know we've spoken about this before, like set a timer of like an hour and be like, all you're allowed to do is either send outreach messages or stare at the wall. And then I know you've spoken about it. You'll stare at the wall for 5 minutes, be like, I'd rather send outreach messages. So, and then you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. No, I think like the timer is super helpful. I use it more for copywriting style tasks than I do for outreach, because the outreach, I tend to just sort of get in a roll with it and I'll block out probably more time than is, normal to do. But again, first thing in the morning, like whenever it needs to happen. And then that is non-negotiable time. Like it goes on the calendar. Phone is in airplane mode unless I'm making calls. Like everything's off. Because I know like that, those are the things that are going to grow my business. Whereas everything else feels good, looks good, maybe, but just does nothing. And what's interesting is that the longer that I'm in business, and I think you kind of almost have to learn this for yourself. But like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were talking about this once, where they were doing a panel and they asked Buffett, they're like, single best piece of advice for entrepreneurs. And he's like, focus. And they're like, okay, Bill, what do you think? Bill Gates? And he's like, focus. And then they ask everybody else too. And like all of the top performers, it's always focus, always. So it's like, okay, well, knowing that I need to focus, knowing that these are the things that are going to drive my business, what distractions do I need to remove? How do I make this easier for myself? For example, some people are night owls and some people wake up really early in the morning, and some people you live normal lives. I don't care like what anybody does. I genuinely don't. To me, sleep is more important. Consistency is important. But like if you operate incredibly well from like 10 p.m. till 3 a.m., that's your time. Now, obviously, don't be calling people at 3 o'clock in the morning. But like maybe that's when you do all your cold emails, or you send DMs, or you prep them all for the next day, or you figure it out. Like you've got to find out where your energy is, and then you block it in and you protect that with your life. Because like a good 3 or 4 hour chunk of focused time is worth like 12 hours of unfocused time. So my entire schedule is built around energy management of like when I'm at my best at different periods of the day. And then I know when I'm useless and I chill or hang out with the family or do whatever else, eat. And I know when I'm switched on, and I protect that time like nobody's business. Like no meetings are allowed. No calls are allowed during that time. Like nobody's able to get a hold of me. I'm trying to think. I just said no to something that was can't even remember what it was. Like a really cool opportunity came up, something I really wanted to do, but it was in that time of focused time. And I was like, I know if I take that 2 or 3 hours off, I lose like 10 grand. So no, like that opportunity is cool, but it's going to have to be later, or someone's else going to have to adjust the schedule, and I've got to focus on this. So yes. All right. Samuel, top 3 marketing related books. We get asked this a lot. There's so many. I think, so I've got a list. It's called the Adam's reading list or something. I'll try and put it in here. aerh.co/ I think it's that one. If it's not, somebody else will know in here. And that's got a whole bunch of books. I think the thing is you've got to figure out what are you most curious about and then start there. Because like marketing, behavioral economics, advertising, copywriting, web design, analytics, graphical visual representation of data, like just pick whatever you like. As far as like general marketing stuff goes, This is Marketing by Seth Godin. That's a good one. 80/20 Sales and Marketing. Amazing book. The rest are hard to give, like if I only had to give you one, because I think they need more context. Like for example, Positioning by Al Rice and Jack Trout was written in, I don't know, the 70s or something. Still a really good book, but like needs to be updated and viewed differently. And there's certain books I think that like if you just read them on their own without having any previous experience with it, it'll just sound way more confusing and complicated than it actually is. So yeah, those are good. I'm trying to think of like if there's a super, I gotta be honest, I like this. I'm super biased obviously on this one, but like I kind of like the YouTube videos that I made on it. Like if you look up Digital Marketing 101 and Marketing Basics and Marketing for Beginners, I'd watch those. I don't want to say I'm too lazy to make a book, but like I put so much effort into those based on the books that I read to try to simplify it. So I might start there. All right, Esteban. Adam, you had included restaurants as a good niche initially and now seemed iffy about it. Is there a stipulation about the kinds of restaurants you choose? Yes, definitely. I like high-end steakhouses. Great. I like nightclubs and bars still work. They're not my favorite, but like they still work fine. And if you can, and these are really hard contracts to get into, but like if you can get in with like a franchise at a higher level of that, then yes. Everything mid-tier, family-friendly, small mom and pop local restaurants, yeah, I just don't like. They just don't have the budget. And even if they did have the budget, it's harder to get them an ROI because their ticket price is like $40, $50, $100. Like I need them to have like at least the meal should be like $100 plus. People should be ordering wine and drinks and like they need to make a significant amount of money from it. So yes. Restaurants. Same with bakeries. Don't like bakeries. Ice cream shops. Anything small. Byron Q. Oh, you guys are chatting. All right. Maybe not. Haven't noticed dinosaur. What would you say? Google Ads still the go-to? Thanks for your content. So for notary signing service, expanding from regional area to serving every state by having reliable notaries in each state, Google Ads still the go-to? Yeah, I think Google Ads still the go-to on that one. I would also be pushing pretty hard, especially if they're going to be local in each state and they'll be presumably in a city and it's a notary. So someone's going to have to go in there and see it. Like local SEO would be, actually that'd be my preference. I think in order I'd go Google Business Profile Optimization, like the Google Maps. Once I had that dialed in, then I would go Google Ads. And at the same time, I'd be optimizing my website for like an organic thing. We call it the Google trifecta, so you can have a spot in all three. But yes, I would be doing those for sure.
Yeah, Google Ads with the near me, so that's still a powerhouse. So if you're doing like notaries near me and you can rank for that keyword on Google Ads, you'll just crush it.
Yep. Sold. Jesse, with the agency, what steps did you take to backfill the positions to get to a point where it was running on its own? Who did you hire and how did you do that? Yeah, I wish. So the system that we use now is so much better than the system I used in the early days. Because the system I used in the early days was not a system. It was just sort of me, I think, figuring it out, and largely from a position of panic and exhaustion, which in hindsight, I don't know. Like, I think the ends justify the means. Like, if you need to be panicked and exhausted to go and do the thing that you probably should have done all along, then yeah, I'm cool with that. So what I did is I made a list of a few different things. I forget who taught me this as well, but it's helpful. I wrote down all of the things that I hated doing, like just literally hated. Like the thought of seeing those on my schedule. Dave and I talk about this all the time, actually, because there's a list of things that I just don't like doing.
Which I do.
And yeah, yeah, exactly. Which Dave likes doing, which is fantastic. So I have to get those off my plate like right away, because there's also a correlation between like things you don't like doing and things you're not good at. So that's my next list. Things I don't like doing. Next list is things I'm not good at. Followed by things I'm okay at, but someone else could probably do better. Followed by things I'm amazing at and like no one's going to do better than I am. And then there's like, how much do I like it? How much do I not? So again, if you could almost like imagine this grid of like things I'm good at, things I'm not, things I like, things I don't. That's a better way to do it. And then you get rid of all of the things that you're not good at and you hate. So for me, some of this, the easiest stuff I got rid of was actually like basic business stuff, like a bookkeeper, then an accountant, then like a better banker to work with. Then my first like agency hire, I wish I could remember exactly. I think it was SEO related, where I had this website contract and I was like, SEO contract. I was like, I don't know how to do this. So I hired an SEO guy. He did a really good job. I was like, this is amazing. I think I charged like $1,000 or not. I can't remember. Don't hold me to this exactly, but I think I charged $500 to do the SEO for like the first month. I paid him $500. He did it all. I made no profit, but then the client stayed on for like years. So every month after that, I made $500, and then I knew what to do, and it was relatively simple. And then kind of the light bulb went off. I was like, that was easy. And sure enough, like that's kind of what a business owner is you should not be doing unless you love it. Like there's things that I'll probably never stop doing because I just really like marketing. But ideally, if I was a true entrepreneur, I'd be doing none of it and I'd just be moving all the chess pieces around. I think I'm like too much of a marketer to want to keep my hands dirty. So yes, SEO, then people that can build websites, then social media managers to help manage the content because I didn't like doing that either. And there were people that were way better than I was. Then there was like, I hired admin assistants probably earlier than I should. I was in this like group with everybody talking about like virtual assistants and getting administrative assistants and executive assistants. So I always had one. And they were always like, Adam, what should I do now? And I was like, I don't know. So I don't know if that was a good use of it. I did that for years too. And I would just like give them random stuff and then I'd have to re-go through it. So I think it's important to make that list first. What I'm good at, what I'm not, what I like, what I don't, and then just start getting rid of all of the things. Because ideally you end up in a place that Dan Sullivan, the founder of Strategic Coach, calls your unique ability, your zone of genius. And you're doing only things that you're really good at that you enjoy doing. And when that happens, like the ceiling gets blown off because you're able to do things that no one else is able to do. It's the same reason that I'm never going to be I would never be a good accountant because I'm not really good at it and I really hate it. So I'm just not willing to put in the effort. I don't even care about it. Like anybody can beat me at that. Whereas like say creating a strategic marketing plan or crafting like the right hook or developing the right offer, I'd like to think that I'm kind of, I don't want to say unbeatable, but I'm pretty close because I just really like it. So when everybody else is watching hockey or football or whatever, I'm reading a book on offers and trying to figure out copywriting and like thinking of things. And people comment this every time we go on a trip. I've got like a copywriting book and a highlighter and they're like, do you ever stop? And I was like, I kind of like it. Like that's, it may not be a completely healthy obsession, but I like, it's kind of what I do for fun. So Dave, other thoughts on hires, people? Who did you bring in? When, why, how?
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. I mean, my first thing was I brought in like an account manager. So I had 15, 20 ad accounts that I was running. And yeah, I just wanted to scratch my eyeballs looking at Facebook Ads Manager every day. So I was like, can I get someone in that can just manage those? And over time, I taught him, and then he just became full account manager, and he launched all the ads. And I enjoy talking to the customers. I enjoy getting on the call, doing the sales call, doing the onboarding call, doing the updates. So he basically built everything, and then I would just check in with him every week and just get the update and then kind of regurgitate that to the client. So again, I looked at it from a standpoint of how can I still be highly profitable, and this person has enough work, and also how can I save the most amount of time? And then, like you said, something that I don't enjoy doing, because last thing you want to do is give something away that you enjoy doing, because you're going to end up doing it anyway. So for me, it was like managing and launching Facebook ad accounts. I was like, yeah, I've done enough of that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that box, you told me that years and years ago, and I did that, and that was the first thing that came up, and that's the first thing I got rid of.
Awesome. Yeah. There's another point that you hit on as well, which is Like the interfacing with the client, to me, that is I don't want to say the most valuable part of a business or an agency specifically, but I'd argue any business, which is why marketing is so important. The most valuable position is the person that's able to go out there and get clients. That's it. What you'll find is that the longer you're in business, the more that you're going to be able to find operators that are able to do all of the running of the things. And like Davey just said there, like set up the Facebook ad campaign and do all this stuff. Like those people are everywhere. And they're often very good, but there's something that they're missing, whether it's confidence or normally it's confidence, maybe a bit of skills on like how to go out there and do client acquisition, like bring in people in, a lot of fields, they call them rainmakers, where you're the one that like goes out and like makes it rain, brings all the stuff. You do that. God damn, like you're set for life. You're set for life. Like you can go into any business and turn it around and generate them sales and revenue and leads and customers. I think that's the reason that I still get so excited about this field and about marketing in general, is because like I've learned a lot of cool things over the years. Like learned guitar and flew planes and taught myself how to ride a unicycle, of all these things, which I'm still so bad at. I got another video coming. I like ripped my Achilles right as I was getting good. But like all of these are fun and useless. Like they're just not practical, useful skills. Whereas the ability to go out there and to sit down at a computer and to like type some words or to make a phone call and to make money from it in an ethical, legal, morally good way where you're actually providing value. I don't know if I've ever felt a buzz that is anything close to that. Like it is just the most satisfying feeling I've ever had. In fact, I'm always working with a counselor and going through therapy and always trying to be a better person. And I'm constantly trying to find these like other things that I enjoy to balance. And I like that. But I always come back to the thing that gives me the greatest buzz is creating value and money out of nothing. Like just to go connect these dots. I was like, okay, we've got a business over here with a plumbing business who's unable to get clients. Well, I can match them up with clients over here who need a plumber. And then I'm the matchmaker and I get rewarded handsomely for doing that thing. So, man, that was a bit of I don't even remember what we were talking about.
It was hiring, but no, it's a really, it's a good point though. And Jesse, it's great to hear that you're at that point, because I know when we first started and you first started in the Agency Accelerator, you were just getting started. So it's really good to hear that. I think you mentioned that you like speaking to the clients, and yeah, that's always going to be there because you're the face of the business. And you, like you said, sounds like you could probably go and hire someone to help you with the delivery, and service those clients, and then you just keep speaking to them and bring them on, and then you just basically create a machine, because you can just keep talking to the clients every day, updating them, and then the team can service those clients and get them results.
Yeah. The way that I think about it is, and the way that we've done it over the years is, I bring on people that, like, you're going to have your own special sauce and your own personality, and clients are going to want to work with you because of you. They're not going to care so much about what you do or how you do it. They're going to care about the end result, but like, you don't have to be the one to get it to the end result. You can be the one that goes in the final step and like puts your stamp of approval on it and be like, yes, that is a Jesse approved campaign or website, ship it out. Or you can look at it and be like, no, fix this one thing or change that around, then ship it out. Great example. I can't remember his name. Famous painter back in the day. Painting is a slow and tedious process. And he used to do all these painting for these fancy rich people and royals and stuff like that. And what he realized was he could outsource the painting of these people, except for the face. So he would have these incredibly talented painters come in, and they would do the body and the background and the dresses and all that. And then he would go in and do the final touches on the face. He was able to cut his workload down by like 95%, able to deliver this incredible product that like had his stamp on it. And like, nobody cares about like the ruffles of a shirt. Same thing goes with like a website. Like, nobody really cares if that slider was, I don't know, PHP or JavaScript or whatever. Like, no one cares. No one cares. Like, not even a little. So they also don't care if you did it or if like someone else did it and you just sort of looked it over and like gave it a stamp. So yes, I'm big on that. Then the other thing is just really document like why something's good and why something isn't when you're training people. So it's like, hey, this is what we're looking for. I prefer more of this. Try and do this next time. Do this and the other, and just document what you're doing. Loom is really good for that. And yes, that's it. All right. Anish, Adam, your RGA video helped a lot. Started seeing progress today. I've got a sales call. Good for you. That's amazing.
Nice.
That's the power, right? Like it's oh man. I mean, we've got some like pretty snazzy, cool, fun tactics and strategies that we talk about a lot. But at the end of the day, I think the real power is finding anything that's going to allow you to do those activities to get the results. In fact, it's funny, the more we go down, like, yes, you have to be doing the right things in the right place with the right people at the right time or nothing's going to work. But then the real trick is how do you actually get out there and go do it all? You betcha,
Keep doing
buddy.
it. Got to be consistent. Like RGA every day. Keep going. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's the agencies that have the most success, just are relentless.
Yeah.
I've seen so many clients that just don't give up, and they've cold called 300 people and still not got a yes, but on that 301 person they get the yes. So yeah, keep going. Set your targets every day and just keep smashing that RGA.
Yeah. I think the other thing is like I find this might just be me, so if this is too extreme or obscene for anybody, you don't have to adopt this attitude, but I find 100% is easier than like 90%. So for me, and again, this is probably not a long-term, I shouldn't say probably, this is not a long-term sustainable strategy for your mental health or well-being or anything like that. But for a short period of time, maybe it's just my belief that many people are weak and we can fix it. But for a short period of time, let's say 3 to 6 months, I like 100% commitment. So I would do RGA 7 days a week. Doesn't mean all day. Like take time off, go see your family and do stuff like that. But there's nothing that says you can't do an hour in the morning from 6 till 7 or 7 till 8 or 8 till 9 or 9 till 10. Or like if, I don't know, you've got kids and wife takes the kids out for a walk with the dog in the park and you've got 2 hours, like RGA, that's the time. And so for me, especially in the early days, I did it all around the clock, like all the time. And it built this muscle where I was like, okay, this isn't actually that hard. And it also built this momentum where it just started to go and to build on itself. And then what you're going to find is like, it's very exponential. So you'll make those, like Dave was saying, you'll make those 300 calls and say you don't get a close. Those weren't wasted. We were learning. Like we guaranteed on the 300th call, you now know what to say, what not to say, how to tweak the script. Should you use abbreviations or acronyms? Should you say this name, that name? Keep notes, just quick up, did that, didn't like that, called it this time. By the 300 call, you're pretty good. And by the 3000th call, you're doing it like nothing. And then you're just making money. And I think, I don't know, I was listening to an ad the other day. It was a program on how to write ads. And the dude was giving an example and it was talking about like how to make money or whatever. And he's like, and if you've never been rich before, he's like, I highly suggest it. And it was funny. And I sort of laughed out loud because I was like, oh shit, he's right. It's real. Like making money's fun. Having money's fine. Honestly, I don't care. Wear a black t-shirt and some jeans and all. Like I don't spend what we make, but making it is really fun. And it gives you this level of confidence in yourself and your future abilities that's unparalleled between anything else that I've ever done. So yeah, find a way to master that skill, dedicate yourself to it, commit to it, and then go do whatever you want for free time. Shane, any tips on getting traction early with very little time available during the day to work on your business? Oh, this is cool. This flows perfectly from our conversation, Shane. So I think I'm going to give you first of all, I say this as a father with 4 young kids. And I try to be empathetic because I started my business before my first kid was born. So things changed for me after he was born. And I remember like a very awkward conversation where my wife came into my office and was basically like, hey, you're missing your kid's life. So I'm aware of like what working all of the time can do. And it's not a pretty thing. That said, I also remember, pardon me, let me say this another way. There's very few people that hit like a really, really good level of success without a pretty decent slog of sacrifice in the early days. Which normally means sacrificing, like if we don't have time, it normally means sacrificing some sleep, which means that we've got to prioritize making the sleep that we do get even better. So for me, because I can wake up earlier than I can stay up late, it means going to bed at like an embarrassingly early hour and then prioritizing. So it's like super blackout blinds. There's a noise machine in our bedroom. It's I don't even know what you call it, air purifier thing that makes like white noise, like a fan. No phones, no TV, no distractions like that. It's very cool. The bed's comfy, the pillow's good, the blankets like there. I take a shower an hour before bed, put core temperature up, then crashes a bit. I make sure that I've had a decent dinner, so I'm not starving. I'm not overly full. Like I've optimized everything for my sleep, so that I can now live regularly on 7 hours. But like if I have to, I can push 5 or 6 for like a month or two. I wouldn't probably do that forever. And I have this vision one day where I'll sleep for like 8 or 9 hours again, but who knows? Too excited. So it's like, we're going to have to carve off some time somewhere. And then in the time that we do have, it's like our RGAs is the big thing, like revenue generating activities, which is pretty much always having a conversation with a potential client in one way, shape or form. Call, email, direct message. Like we need to have more conversations. We don't need to fix our logo or our website or anything like that. We need to be doing more things to get in front of them. Now, again, if you're working like a full-time job and you've got a wife and kids and responsibilities, there's a couple things you can do. The first of which is you do want to start probably finding those pockets of time. The other is you have a real heart-to-heart conversation with your family and be like, here's the deal. This is what dad's working on. This is why I think it's important. I need 1 hour after work to like work on this before dinner, after dinner, what it is, uninterrupted time. Like if my house was chaos, I'd work in my car on my laptop with some noise canceling earbuds in or earplugs. Like there's always a pocket or like a closet that we can find somewhere. I'm not big on coffee shops or other places where there's distractions and people. Like I need a closed off area where I know that I'm there to work. And then, yeah, like Dave said, we work or we stare at the wall. God, I think that's everything. It's a bit of a rant, but like, I think the takeaway point is like, you got to take it because no one's going to give it to you. And when you take it, they're probably going to push back a little bit and say, what about us? What about this? We want that. And it might be perceived initially as selfish, but I had a mentor once tell me, he's one of the few guys that made me cry. And I was telling him about something similar to this. I was like, well, I don't know if I can do it. And I don't want to, I was trying to take my business to the next level and I was pushing about, and I was like, my kids were born at that point. It's like, I kind of want to spend time with them. And I don't really think, and he looked me dead in the eye and I can't remember the exact words because the emotion just like welled up immediately, but he's like, what kind of a message are you sending to your kids that your dreams aren't important? What kind of a message are you sending to your kids that you're not capable of doing? Oh, Jesus, even saying it makes me want to just like it hit me right in the testicles. Like it was horrible. And I remember just like breaking down. And I use that because yeah, that's the message that we send when I don't want to say prioritize everybody else over us, but like we don't follow our dreams. We don't do things that are important to us. We're showing our family and our friends and our kids, it's okay. You don't have to. It's not that important. You have dreams. Forget it. Just don't bother. Just go do this thing. And I think that's the world's worst message. So obviously don't ignore your kids and work 20 hours a day. But like we can find those pockets of time. And I promise you damage can be done in like 1 to 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like you can do damage. And then once you start getting some traction, then you can do more. And then like a lot of the guys in the program, guys and girls in the program, they do some damage. They get proof that it works. And then they're able to leave their jobs. And then they go full time on the agency. And then the doors just blow open. Whew. That was an emotional rant, Dave. Yeah. How do you think about that? As a newly married man, what do you think about priorities and sacrifice?
Yeah, right now I'm saying to my new wife, let's not have kids yet. Let's just leave kids for 2 or 3 years. I want to build my business. And she's like, yeah, great. Fortunately, she's a little bit younger than me, so I'm all right with that. But I know full well if I put kids in there, yeah, it would be chaos. So right now I'm just being selfish and trying to grow the business. And it's selfish from a way of I'd want the business to be at a level when I bring kids into the world so that I can do both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's, again, I'm fortunate in that sense. A little bit younger than yourself, although might not look it.
I'm so old, dude. It's just because I'm like a million. Everyone's younger than me now.
But yeah,
I think and I think that's solid. I mean, like, yeah, if you have the ability, obviously, like if you have kids now, you don't have to get rid of them. You can still build a business around them. But they do complicate things for sure. I also don't think it's selfish at all to like want to build the business before they get there, because I can tell you for a fact, like, again, statistically speaking, the reason most relationships fail is money issues. So there's fights over money. There's fights over this. My wife and I, we used to back in the early days, but like now we never fight over money. The only fight we have is about like, I'm probably the cheap one now. She's super frugal and like always does the smart things. But now there's enough money to do whatever, and I don't want to do it. So it's like, I kind of rather work or want to do this thing. She's like, we need a vacation. We need to do this thing. We need to do that. So when we go pretty big, but we never fight over money. The kids, the things that we have now, we're trying to give them experiences and not stuff. So we're trying to teach them not to become like spoiled little rich kids, which is my biggest fear. So it introduces new challenges anyway, but they're fine. They go to a private school. They fly. When we go to Europe, they fly business class. Like they live a really good life. And if that sucked, we would move. Like we have all of these things because of the business. So I don't think it's selfish at all. I think it's the most noble of things to look after your family.
Yep.
Okay.
Jesse. From Jesse, and I think he already knows the answer to this one.
He does. If I found a good way to connect with potential clients, would you still branch out from that or double down on it? Double down.
Double down.
Double down. God, we actually, I'm bringing that back up. This is important for everybody to see. Yeah, as entrepreneurs, when we oh, by the way, no one's immune to this. I do this all the time. In fact, this was the conversation Dave and I had yesterday. So right now, YouTube is still our main channel by far. It does the most positive work for everything. But I keep getting these thoughts because I keep hearing about like all my friends and all my colleagues and all my competitors, they're dominating Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter. And so I was like, we could do that. We should do that as well. The problem is every time I go there, I hate those platforms. Like I just don't like them. So it doesn't make sense. And so Dave's there to do that. And then I was like, yeah, you're right. Okay. Back to YouTube. So yeah, when you find something that works, you double down on it until it does not work anymore. And then you pivot. You'll find something else if and when. How grateful. Oh yes. Hey man, that's wicked. Hit 10K last month, on track for 10K in September. Good for you.
Yes, dude, Jesse.
That's Love wicked. It. There's a celebration. Good job, buddy. I'm proud of you. I'm super grateful that we got to play a part in that. And it really is an honor and a privilege to like get to show you that. And that's the reason that we do this. It's so cool. But like also you get to pat yourself on the back because it's one thing to know what to do. It's another to go out there and actually do it. So stoked. Now you got to come down the island. We'll do some snowboarding, or I'll get up to Kelowna at some point. Dave, you got to come over too and we'll do some snowboarding.
I'll fly over. Yeah. Fly over business class.
We'll have a big, exactly. Business class. Bring some random kids, get them seats. It's funny when we loaded up on this flight when last we went over to, can't remember, it was flying to London. And the kids, like, so I've got 4 kids and their ages 3, 5, 7, and 9-ish. And we load onto the business class section of the plane, and like the death glares that people look at you with when you get on is just like, and I was like, it's funny because at home, they're wild animals. On a plane, they were just perfect. Like they got on the plane, they ate their little meals, they went to bed, they slept the entire flight. And then we got off the plane and everyone's like,
complimentary champagne when they came on.
Oh, that's it. Obviously. Yeah. The fizzy apple juice for the kids. Mom's got the champagne. I'm just like, I pass out on planes immediately. Like I can't help it. Second we go, I sleep. All right. We got time for a couple more and then we'll wrap it. Zane, good to see you, buddy. I started cold calling last week, made 600 calls out of every 150 calls. I got one prospect to agree to a meeting. But when I send them a calendar link via email, they go cold. What would you do? Okay. So out of every that, you get one prospect to agree to a meeting. So those are lower than I would like to see. So I would just keep working on like tone, style, delivery, script. Like we want more than that from it. When I send them a calendar link via email, they go cold. What would I do? I'd try to get them to pick a time on the phone. I don't send them like a follow-up email other than to say, thank you for your time on the call. Like we have to do it all on the phone. And if they go cold, like if we did send it, which don't, but if you did, call them again. Because now they've turned from a cold lead into a warm prospect now. So yes, you've got to call them.
It's active and passive booking. So active booking is saying, hey, what time could you do tomorrow? 9 a.m., 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Great, 9 a.m. What's the best email? And then you put that in the diary there. Whereas passive booking is sending them the link and putting the control onto them. So you always want to be doing active booking and you have control of it. And then that confirms the meeting. Now, if they don't show up, that's a different thing. We ring them from there. But yeah, always try and active book people.
Yeah. Yes, always. Best cold call opener without the initial email. Oh man, you test them. There's no best one for sure, but like literally test them and find out which ones. Like, hi, it's Zane calling from da da da. Is this the? Or hi, is this the? This is Zane calling from da da da. Like, I pretty much always introduce myself, but you're gonna want to test how you even introduce yourself. Like, you might not want to say from like Zane's marketing agency. You might want to say from like Zane MK or whatever it is. Like something else to test to see what they're going to respond with. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, is this a priority? Have you tried this? Are you looking for this? Like, there's so many different possibilities, which is why I'm proud of you for making all those calls. But like, we need to take notes. I started with this. I led with this. This is when they said yes. Then they said no. They like this one. What's the one that replies? Yeah, that's the answer. Tyler, if I really want to join the accelerator program, don't have enough savings, but have an agency with a few clients, I'm just getting by. Do you recommend getting a loan or using a credit card to join? Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, and that's a tough one. That's such a personal one. Honestly, the best thing to do is have a chat with the team, and they'll walk you through some of the options. Like, I used to have, so my view has changed dramatically, but it's changed based on you. So this is a question that only you can answer. Because and again, I don't like to push people into debt. I really don't. I don't like to push people into uncomfortable financial situations. And I never suggest someone do something that they can't afford, ever. Full stop. That said, they've done these studies, and you got to figure out if this is you. Where if you make these financial obligations that back up your goals, you're 5 times, I think it was, more likely to achieve them than if you just say you want them. So I have, again, and this is something that I've done personally, but I don't recommend to others. You've got to decide if this is for you. I cannot stress this enough. Like, the last thing I'm doing is wrecking someone's finances. For me personally, if I have a goal that I really want to achieve, I back that up financially, I hit that goal. For example, I ripped my Achilles tendon like 2 years ago, and they told me the rehab was going to be just this nightmare, total disaster. They weren't wrong. It was hell. So I called all my friends that had Achilles injuries. Fortunately, living on the West Coast, there's a lot of extreme athletes here, all more extreme than I am. I wrecked it playing baseball in the backyard. And they were like, yeah, get this, get that, get this trainer, get this machine. So sure enough, I went out and I bought these like compression cuffs, and I bought a belt squat machine, and I bought a leg extension machine. I bought a calf machine. I bought all of this gear, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear, because I couldn't not do the rehab, knowing all of the money that I've spent. And sure enough, it's still, believe it or not, 2 years later, the leg is strong as well as the other one, but like the muscle's still a tiny bit smaller. We're still kind of working there. But like, I would not have done that had I not made that investment. I've done the same thing with my agency, hiring people I couldn't afford to hire and programs I couldn't afford to take. But again, if that's not you, then no. Like, if you're the kind of person that's like, I'm going to get a dopamine hit from it, and then I'll feel really good, and then I'm not going to do it, then yeah, it's not. But again, I would chat with the people, our sales guys, and they'll walk you through everything. They're super caring, nice guys. All right. I think the time has come, my friend. We did it. Yeah. We hit the questions. All right. And only a slight technical glitch at the beginning because I accidentally turned off your mic and then turned off my camera and all that. Last time, actually, you weren't here last week. My camera overheated too. And so it wasn't going to catch on fire, but it got close. So we had to switch over to like the backup one, but we're good.
Bringing straight fire and burning the camera out.
Oh, that's it. That's all. That's what it's about. Go until you literally catch on fire. Okay. Well, Dave, a pleasure as always. Thank you everybody for being here, for all the great questions, and we will talk to you soon and see you on the next call. Bye everybody.
See you guys.